Timing is everything. Timing is everything. What do we mean by that? Because we're talking about execution. If you don't execute on what you know and what you can actually do, you will miss your opportunity. It just comes down to that basic understanding of thought to action. There's a small gap in your synapses from thought to action. And regardless of how fast a person seems to respond, that gap still exists. The only difference is usually with the better trained person, it's imperceptible. You can't even see it. Fighters who have not really honed that skill, you could argue that one of the problems is repetition. They have an idea where they want to be, where they want to go, but it just comes down to you haven't practiced it enough in the gym. Because when it comes to the learning part, you know how to do it. You know, if I ask you to teach it to me, or if I gave you a curriculum test, you guys could probably go through the entire test with a correct analysis of what the structure of a jab is, the structure of a choke is, the structure of a takedown. So that's usually never the problem. And we're not always going to talk about strategy, because strategy has something to do with, but very little when it comes to the actual pulling of the trigger and just jumping into it. You have to have a level of commitment to it. And the only way you're going to develop that commitment is by seeing the urgency in doing the thing that you do. And urgency doesn't always mean emergency. Urgency doesn't always mean desperation. It just means that you want to get into your game as early as possible. You want to fight your game and not allow your opponent to execute theirs, get back into the mode where they can stop you from doing what you want to do. And the key to doing that is, you know, when you begin your game, when you come out, the bell rings, you touch hands, you do whatever, right? You do all the preliminary stuff. But when you actually begin the fight, you pull that trigger. And it's something that I remember Cleveland McLean talking about, like, you know, you spend all the time in the back room, and I don't care how much you warm up, I don't care how much you meditate, how much you sleep. It's just nothing like that moment until you actually hit the cage. And he always talked about he has to do something to get himself into the fight. And one of the things he talked about was he had to land that leg kick. It made him feel alive. It made him feel connected. And that's what I'm talking about. When you pull that trigger, you just feel like, okay, now the universe is right with me. Everything else fits. Everything is in its proper place. And that's the key. When you go out, you just have to pull that trigger and you're not worried about the result. You know, you actually say, okay, I'm going to get here. I'm going to throw this punch, this kick, whatever it is, this takedown attempt, whatever it is, and you get close. You touch, you get close. Now you have an understanding of just how much further do I have to go to get to where I want to be. And that's it. You pretty much have an understanding of what your skill is now. And you know how far from the center you are, how far to the right or how far to the left you are from executing that particular move that you want to get down.